Hello, and welcome to Black Writers Read. My name is Nicole Young-Martin, and I'm the founder, producer, and host of this podcast. Launched on Juneteenth in 2020, Black Writers Read was created as a platform to showcase, celebrate, and honor the words, work, and traditions of Black writers from across the country, across genres, across experiences, and across the African diaspora. Black Writers Read is a behind the scenes conversation into the craft and what it means to create as a Black author in today's society. Since starting the series during the summer of 2020, we've hosted almost 70 authors representing 10 plus genres from 5 countries and 20 states. A little bit ago, I had an opportunity to chat with Lisa Pegram and Chana Shinegba about a really cool and very necessarily timely initiative they've been working on. You may recognize both of them as their key collaborators in the Black Writers Read community. Lisa Pegram, the lit maven and retreat hostess with the mostess. As a Caribbean based writer, culinary ambassador, and publishing professional, Lisa curates tropical retreats to rejuvenate Black creatives and thought leaders. With over 20 years of experience, she amplifies BIPOC voices through arts education programs, activism, and event production for institutions like the Smithsonian, the DNC, United Nations, and National Geographic. Now based in the Caribbean, Lisa shapes literary spaces and facilitates conversations through her retreats, offering reflection, creativity, and cultural connection. Chana Shinegba, hospitality expert and author. As a DC-based author and retreat host, Chana blends storytelling with a deep commitment to fostering transformative experiences. Her debut novel, Dancer in the Bullpen, released in June of 2024, weaves autobiographical fiction with magical realism, inviting readers into a world where personal history and imagination intersect. Inspired by her experiences, she hosts immersive, all inclusive experiences, creating restorative spaces where participants can connect, reflect, and find inspiration. These gatherings draw on her expertise in hospitality, storytelling, and community building, offering a unique environment for personal and professional growth. So, I'm actually going to turn it over to the conversation so you can learn more about this amazing initiative. So, now I'm going to take you to our virtual stage. Feels so great to welcome you both back, Chana Shinegba and Lisa Pegram, who have been on Black Writers Read before. They've collaborated with each other. I'm collaborating with Lisa on some things, and then Lisa is the helm of many of the guests who have been on. So, sisters, welcome back.
Hello.
Thank
Thank you for
you.
having us.
Hi. So happy to
Yay.
be here.
So I need to open it up with the story. So Lisa, a couple of weeks ago, reached out to me about the special project that we're going to be talking about today, this special, very special initiative. And she was like, "Am I crazy?" And I said, "Lisa, this is how willing I am to rock with you." And for folks, if you know, you know. I was like, "Lisa, if we are out in the dark, in the forest, with no light, no lantern, no fire, no nothing, we hear a scream and you want to go towards that scream, I will follow you. I will follow you towards the screen." Like that. That
Yeah,
is
that's
how much I trust you. You know, Black people don't
real.
don't
Praise.
follow no screams.
We don't
That
do
is
that.
high praise. I am honored that you feel that way about me, Nicole.
Nicole, listen, I totally agree with you because when Lisa brought this project up, I just said yes before I even heard all the details. I'm like, you want me to be involved in something that you are a part of? Please, it will be epic. So I get it. I'm with you.
So
I'm with
we will
you.
follow you into the screen, girl.
I
The screen. We
will.
follow
That's
you.
big.
Because we are literally about to go into the woods.
Yes.
We're going into the woods, over the river and
And
through.
through the words.
And through the woods. We're going to
You
the
may
woods.
find your grandma.
Indeed.
You may find grandma in the woods. Maybe not, but
Indeed. Indeed.
Yeah, with this project, you may even find some ancestors coming to visit. So let's go ahead and get started. So, what is the Campfyah Collective? And can you talk about the name Campfyah?
Yes.
I mean, fire, and the origins of this lovely project.
Sure. So, all right. So I'm gonna just read you the formal definition before we just get to laying out and get comfortable. So the formal definition, the Campfyah Collective is a literary lifestyle brand that celebrates Black thought, wellness, and pleasure across the diaspora via book clubs, workshops, conversation series, and destination retreats. So the goal is to be a celebration of the beauty of Black thought, and you can get in where you can fit in. You can join us for a book club if you're a writer yourself or want to kind of dive into some self-expression. You can join us in our workshops. And if you are trying to get down with the top tier, you can grab your passport and join us on one of our destination retreats, the inauguration of the first one we are celebrating today here with you on Black Writers Read.
Yes, and I love that we'll be venturing to a very important place, a very pivotal part of the world. So can you share where the retreat will be?
Yes. So our inaugural retreat will be in Barbados, which is my maternal ancestral home country. And really this journey started as a dovetail from a series of research trips that I took to Barbados last year in order to do research for a family memoir that I am working on, tracing my family's roots to the Caribbean and back again. And as you know, I have been living in the Caribbean for some time now. I think 12 years now. I think I left the States in 2013. And it has been a really eye-opening experience as far as my identity as not only just a Black American woman, as a Black American woman of Caribbean descent, and as a woman, self-proclaimed woman of the diaspora, right? So I think Black with a capital B, right, is I am expressing love and honor and gratitude and connection with Black peoples across the world. So it really was once I moved to the Caribbean that I discovered that the Caribbean is a part of the world that you can go to get to the largest concentration of Black folks outside of Africa, right? So if you want to go to Africa in the Western world, I feel like you kind of go to the Caribbean, right? And I think it's important to note that culturally, intellectually, as far as leadership, as far as scholarship, the Caribbean is a rich hub of Black excellence. I think too often the Caribbean gets dubbed as the good time girl, which is where everyone goes just to relax and have vacation. You know what I'm saying? You're going to go, you're going to get you a little something, and then you're going to go home. And I think that is a grave mistake. Because in fact, if you look at iconic Black leaders across history of the New World, you will find that many of the most iconic people like Shirley Chisholm, Marcus Garvey, even our own Kamala Harris, who is now running for president, have family roots in the Caribbean. The Caribbean is not just a place to go to the beach. I mean, the beaches are beautiful, don't get me wrong, and a drink with an umbrella in it, ain't nobody gonna kick it out of bed, right? But as far as I think I am really excited about situating the Caribbean in my activities as a wellspring of Black leadership and as a role model, actually, that Black folks across the world can learn from, because the difference in the colonial experience in the Caribbean is that the post-colonial experience left countries that were predominantly Black. That will never happen in the States. That will never happen in Europe. So your post-colonial experience is that you do have a foundational identity in that country, but you will always be outnumbered. And therefore, the way you perceive yourself and the way you move throughout that environment is as literally a numerical minority. Whereas in the Caribbean, you have countries where they have the similar colonial and enslaved history, but it left behind a country that is now majority Black. And so the way that cultural identity and the way that governments are formed, and nowhere is perfect, but the way that things are approached is from an identity that has a stronger Black core And so I think there is something to be learned from people who have been functioning now for, a couple hundred years now, have been functioning as an autonomous country in the midst of this greater landscape. So often as Americans, I think Black people sometimes feel like we are exempt from American exceptionalism, and we are not, right? As Americans, we think we know everything, right? The top dog Black folk in the world are Americans. First of all, there's no top dog Black folk, because there's so many, we are not a monolith. There are so many different ways to be, we are a kaleidoscope. There are so many different ways to be Black. There's so many expressions of Blackness, and we need to own all of them. And I think instead of competing about whose Black experience is the most authentic, we really need to be joining the long legacy that was begun way before any of us were around. But this legacy of understanding ourselves as part of a greater diaspora. And so for those reasons, I felt like I wanted to express my passion for the Caribbean as a role model, not only of Black leadership, but also Black love and Black community. And so when I sat down to think about a location for a retreat that was going to celebrate those two things, Black leadership and Black love and Black unity and Black family in the greater sense, not even just a nuclear family, but how we interact with each other, I felt like I felt like the Caribbean was the best place to do it. And I feel like Barbados and its history makes it uniquely placed to be the ideal location for that. Barbados being the hub of the colonial trade during the period of enslavement, really being called Little England, a place that many of our ancestors, even if they didn't end up in Barbados, passed through Barbados on the way there. Barbados has a very strong connection to United States history. South Carolina was ratified and formed in Barbados. Half of its population was sent from Barbados. So that Barbados is kind of slept on, even though now we have Mia Motley on the scene. And so we're seeing it again emerge at the forefront of global leadership. But it's always been there. And I think people have slept on that. So this was a unique opportunity for me to take the inspiration that I got from working on my own book, the research that I did about the country while I was doing that, this passion for kind of reframing the Caribbean outside the good time girl notion, and this passion for diasporic unity and love and leadership meant that Barbados was the perfect choice. And that is where we will be hosting our first Campfyah Collective retreat this February. Oh, that was a mouthful, but it was history. It was history behind it.
That was a PBS documentary. We needed that though. And so I would love for you to share who's involved, and then also too within that, Chana, if you can prepare to read, because I think you'll have an excerpt to read for us to kind of set more of the foundation of this amazing initiative.
Chana, why don't you talk about who's involved? Since
Okay, sure, no problem.
Table. So I will say that I put up the bat signal. I put up the bat signal to my peoples. It was like, you can't say that you're all about collective efforts and try to do this on your own. So I was like, let me reach out, put the bat signal up to my peoples that I think need to be at this table to pull this off. And I'll let Chana explain to you now who's on the table. Yes.
Yes. So I will definitely first let me share that, my connection to the Campfyah Collective definitely came through Lisa, who is a longtime friend and also editor of my debut novel. But when she invited me to take part of this journey, I couldn't say no, like I just shared. I mean, her vision for cultivating community, Black love and leadership, and creating these experiences is just perfectly aligned with my passion. My connection is strong to the diaspora. My stepfather is from Senegal, which I am proud to have visited and engaged in. My husband is Nigerian. And just to preface by saying my relationship with these two amazing individuals helped open my eyes to show that as a Afro-Caribbean, Black American, we are all are interconnected, and though we have different journeys, I feel like we all have the same struggle and a lot of the same passions. So I think I recently also reconnected to my Caribbean roots with my debut novel that you mentioned, Nicole, Dance in the Bullpen, which weaves together autobiographical fiction and magical realism, which pays tribute to my Jamaican Maroon and tribe ancestry. And so I think that it just really resonated with the purpose of this retreat, which is not just a getaway, but it's a space to honor and explore the legacy of family and, connecting with our people. So just a little bit of background of who I am. I would definitely consider myself a mother, a wife, an author. I'm a hospitality expert with over 20 years of experience in business development and client relations. But again, I've done a lot of high profile events, political figures, celebrities, and corporate leaders, but I definitely feel like my career has centered around building strong relationships, strategic networking, which I am so proud to be able to use that skill set and bring it home to us, not just in the corporate setting. And so I just had to be a part of this, not only personally, because let's be honest, I am the protagonist, I feel like, of many stories, and it gets exhausting, creating, hustling, nurturing, protecting. And I get it. We want to go, maybe sometimes just go to the beach and do nothing. But then we come back sometimes and we're like, what have we accomplished? What have we really refueled other than maybe taking a little nap with the pina colada? No, I really feel like this is so multifaceted with, healing, growth, intellectual, like Lisa said, elements, but we just also want to have fun. I want to dance. I want to party. I want to be tired from joy and purpose of just not, we can just have a good time. We don't always have to be the strong Black folks who have always this, very structured agenda, which there's structure, but I think it's going to be such a beautiful experience to have this creative space and being open and free. So I got involved naturally, I feel like, because Lisa helped cultivate some of my talent, to be honest. So hopefully she made the right choice with having me a part of the group. And Camille, I'm going to let Lisa talk a little bit more about Camille Fleming, who is actually I'm connected to her because she's has been a part of my publicist team. And she has so many credentials and so many different talents. And we have some other guests or some other individuals, Lisa, that I know you can speak more about, who are going to be rounding out, I think, the expertise in guiding this retreat. I hope that answered a little bit. So, yeah.
I think it's really important to say that we're so excited to have Chana on board as a hospitality expert.
Yes.
Because all of us have a background in hospitality, but Chana is like, an Obi-Wan Kenobi of hospitality. And I think that's super important to note because our tagline is, what is it, Chana?
Good.
Serious joy and good
trouble. Good trouble. Yes.
So we are so serious about having fun that we have a hospitality expert on our team. Okay. Right. So we're going to do all of the intellectual, all of those activities where we're going to grapple with issues and we're going to get into conversation with each other. But we are so serious about there being a balance of fun and cross-pollination, right? Mm-hmm. That we're making sure that we have people at the table who can tend to every aspect of what we want to do. So, for example, we have Camille, mm-hmm. who Chana just mentioned, and Camille is a doula. So she has practice in doula and family planning. And Camille also spent several years working for the Obama administration in the White House. So she also has a background in politics, in employment advocacy for people of color, in organizing, and in marketing. And so it was one of those situations we all, we Black women, so we have lots of talents. Let's just be real about it. So we sat down at the table and we were like, you know how you do on Halloween when everybody comes and they pour all the candy out of the table and see what you got? We were all like, let's put all our skills out on the table and see what we have to make sure that we can cover everything. And so, her background in politics was really important to us because we're coming out of this like super contentious election. And that conversation has brought up, a lot of critical conversation around who is in leadership positions, but then also how each of us as leaders in our own communities navigate our leadership and how we do so as Black people, both within our country and across diaspora, how we do it between men and women, right? So how do we have conversations about what leadership is looking like, where we're doing it well, and where we could use some help, right? And we're the people at the kitchen table. This retreat is going to be the kitchen table where we sit down and really have a moment to kind of parse through all of these things. And so we wanted to make sure that we had people who were qualified to moderate and hold space for these conversations, because you ain't trying to open up a whole bunch of can of worms and then don't know how to put them back in. You don't know how to deal with the situation. So we have Camille, who has this family and doula and birthing and creativity background. You have me, whose focus is also in creative expression, in facilitation, and in education, and in literature. You have Chana, whose background is in hospitality. We have Sherry, who is a licensed therapist, because we want to make sure if we touch on any nerves, we have someone there who is able to allow us to work through these things so that we can come to like some really concrete conclusions as we explore. We're just going to explore. We don't have to figure out the answers, but we want to just get a bunch of smart people to the table and explore. How can we do this better? How can we love each other and lead each other better? So we want to make sure that we have a team of people that can hold that. We also have Reverend Michael Clark, who is one of the lead seminarians here in Barbados. They're in Barbados, who is going to be working with us on mindfulness and a spiritual side of attacking these issues, right? So we want to make sure that we can, every which way you can turn the issue, that we have people here that can help moderate the discussion so that we come to productive conclusions. So we're really excited. Actually, I would say, I also want to add, I cannot forget Damian Thompson.
Oh, yes.
Because when we get through all this conversing, I have to shift modes out of the conversation mode. When we get out of the conversation mode, then we're shifting into healing mode. And so we have a partnership with a botanical garden in Barbados that has just recently opened a section of their garden that is dedicated to the ancestral healing practices. So the ways that our ancestors used nature to heal themselves, and how our connection to nature and connection to the earth and the ability to make that connection, no matter where we are, whether we're in our homeland or whether we're displaced, our ability to have that connection to nature is a strength of ours and actually powers our love and leadership by way of us being able to engage with landscape to empower ourselves. And so we have Dr. Damian Thompson, who is the co-founder of Frontline Farming and is also a graduate professor at the University of Colorado Boulder, who is also going to come to walk us through our activities where we engage with the natural landscape. And we'll be doing that in partnership with Sharon Cook, who is the owner, a Black woman who is the owner of that botanical garden. So we're really making sure that we have a balanced team of folks that we're bringing in from across the diaspora, and then also with local experts that can talk to us about what we can learn from what they've already discovered in Barbados. So we're just super excited to be working with each other as a team. We're super excited to then also open that discussion up to the group. I mean, the whole goal is to get a bunch of smart people around the table. When you get a bunch of smart people around the table, you just create the container and you let them talk and you see what happens. So if you notice, if you're a smart person, like these are kind of the factors of like if you had a good experience, a good trip, a good party, right? This is a good party. Chana and I have known each other since we were kids.
5, maybe?
Our parents were friends, okay? Yeah. So we grew up like a lot of Black kids with parents who threw these multi-generational parties, right? Nobody gets a babysitter because you just bring the kids and put them upstairs with some food and then the grown-ups downstairs party, right? So, and we used to peek through the banisters and watch these parties. And what we would see is these brilliant, dynamic people who all had these amazing educational backgrounds or life experiences and who were at the top of their game and whatever they did. And they would be having conversations. They would be talking about Black unity. They'd be talking about apartheid. They'd be talking about Pan-Africanism. They'd be talking about the civil rights movement. They'd be talking about love and literature and the arts. And this is what we observed as kids, as partying.
Yeah.
They'd be sitting around talking about serious stuff, and then they would put on some Frankie Beverly and some maize, and all the women down there knew how to cook, and they would bring all this food. It wouldn't be these things individually. Oh, we get together to talk about politics. Oh, we get together and then we're going to dance. Oh, we get together and we're going to eat. All of those things would happen in one place.
Yeah.
And so this is our opportunity to literally transport a group of really smart grown folks who consider themselves to be change makers in whatever field they're in, and get them around a table for 5 days. Not even the table. We're doing even bigger than the table this time, Nicole. We're creating not only a table this time, we're going to have a table within a whole village. We're going to create a maroon village amongst ourselves.
Yeah.
Campfyah Collective is a maroon village that we are going to create. We are literally going to go up into the Emerald Hills of Barbados. And we are going to have a chain of cabins in the hillside that are solar powered, an eco community where there is limited light pollution, where there is green oxygen everywhere. That is where we are going to join. Just like, you know how we all need to exit and exit stage left and escape from this Babylon system that we all living in.
Babylon.
Right? Isn't that what our used to do? They used to exit and go up in the hills.
Yes.
Hey. Campfire together and say, how are we going to figure this thing out? Absolutely. That is what our ancestors did. The ones who didn't wait for freedom come. The ones who took freedom, they ran to the hills, too deep in the hills to be found, and they lit a fire and they gathered it and they built their communities. And that's what we're going to do for 5 days. This is not, if you are looking for your typical, like, just add water, Caribbean, turquoise, water with white sand, sit around and take a nap all day. This is not that. Now, don't get me wrong. We going to the turquoise sea now.
Yeah. You're gonna have
to the turquoise sea. We going to the white sand. We going to drink enough rum. Because you know rum was invented in Barbados. We going to drink rum. For those who are down for it, we going to smoke cigars. We going to be in the water. We're going to have conversation. A lot of these conversations we'll have in these settings. Mm-hmm. We want to take the opportunity to allow people to engage in their collective identity while also getting this decompressed experience.
And I do want to say something too. I think that's really important. If you'll notice, even though we'll be in the forest, like Lisa said, we'll also be in the water, in the city. We're going to be using all of our senses. So, which, as you know, when you think about leaders, you think about in the 60s, you think about just recently now, people have these conversations, like you said, around the campfire or around in the beach or in a little nook, in a little juke joint in an area where they're collaborating and in community and are making change or are finally having that plan for that creative effort that they really wanted to engage in to change the world, honestly. And we really feel that this is an opportunity to just uplift each other and to make things happen, to actually have this safe space without all the noise and all of, quite frankly, the oppression and the stress and the anxiety that I know a lot of us face, to reconnect with ourselves and our purpose. And we want to taste the experience. We want to see it, feel it. And I think what's so beautiful, there's all these activities. There's going to be something that you can taste, feel, see all over your body, physically and emotionally.
You're going to hear it. You're going to, all of the senses are going to be firing because, one thing we talked about was the fact that because we are liberation-minded Black folks, right? We're always engaged in the struggle, engaged in the struggle. And that's exhausting. It takes a toll on our bodies. It takes a toll on our mind, on our spirit to always be like this. I call it the 11s, right? Where you just always frowned up trying to figure something out. And I always find it tragic. And this dawned on me during the pandemic. I find it tragic that because we are always so engaged in struggle, the ultimate sacrifice we make is our joy.
Yes.
And I find that tragic. Like, so after we got to give you everything else, now we got to give you our joy. I mean, don't get me wrong. Black folks are really good at locating joy. You know, we definitely play in the joy realm. But do you know what I'm saying? It's like, how much of our time do we have to spend our nervous systems being all jacked up, the cortisol running all over the place because we've had to deal with some microaggression that always comes out of left field. Do you know what I mean? So the idea was that instead of not only engaging in something that was critical thought and an intellectual exercise, but that we could also do the joy and the fun stuff too, right? So that they would not be mutually exclusive anymore. Because, you know, when you got to do serious work, a lot of times you'll make sure the work gets done and the joy will kind of get the dregs of your energy.
Right.
Yes.
Which is not what we wanted to happen here. So we have a very delicate balance here. Even sometimes, you know, when we want to have serious conversations, we want to have serious conversations with all of us sitting around in a circle on the beach. You know what I mean? With a drink in our hand and our toes in the sand, talking about serious stuff. You know what I mean? You know, so we felt like this was a place where we could have the balance of the two and have fun playing with the balance of the two and hopefully model that so that when folks go back into their own communities, that they're approaching, because this is, you know, we all know that the kind of change that we'd really love to see, we ourselves might not see in our lifetime. We just have to run our leg of the race.
That's right.
And so I'm just saying, can we put a little dance in the run? What else music and can we dance our leg? Maybe.
Yes.
We need some of Lisa's dishes too. I need some, or the locals. Oh, I'm so ready for the locals.
Can I tell you, Chana?
I'm ready.
I'm gonna cook. I had so much to do. I wasn't sure if I was gonna cook, but then I was talking to Nicole, and Nicole was like, Lisa, when I'm on your IG, I be seeing all your pictures and how you played it, and I just gotta have some food. And I said, I think these people will be upset with me if they went all the way to the and get some food. So we are going to have one of the signatures of the Oasis Files, which is kind of like our greater retreat umbrella, is that during a retreat, we always have a house party. And that, again, was inspired by those house parties that Chana's mama and my mama used to have back in the day. We always have a house party. Because to me, that's the ultimate vibe. It's the ultimate vibe. So, and it's an opportunity as well for the folks who are visiting from off island to get a chance to mingle with folks who are from on island. And so we are going to have a tree house party in Campfyah, where we are going to invite some local artists to come and join us for food and music and dancing and a campfire. That will be one of the many activities that we're going to be doing. We're going to do so many. The beach. We're doing workshops at the botanical garden. We're going to be like Adam and Eve, all up in the beautiful flora and the fauna. Okay, we're having a tour by the ambassador to CARICOM. Is going to actually give us a tour of downtown Bridgetown and a tour of Parliament. So like Chana said, we're really, our location, our home is going to be our Maroon Village in the hills. But we're going to do a little taste of everything. We're going to be in the hills. We're going to be at the beach. We're going to be in the city. We're going to give you a little taste of everything so that you have we create almost our own little ecosystem.
Yeah.
Campfyah Collective.
And I have to remind folks that they have to go home at some point, because you need to take what you learn here and bring it back home. Because I've already told Lisa, when I'm able to go, I may not want to go home.
Well, the thing that's good about it also is that when you join one of our retreats, you become a Campfyah Collective member.
Yes.
So that means that you get the first heads up for the next retreats we're hosting. You get incentives. You also get incentives for referring folks to sign up. And actually, we're opening that up to everyone right now. So anyone who refers someone to Campfyah Collective who actually ends up signing up for the retreat, we're giving them $125 thank you bonus, $125 just to say thank you for sending folks our way. And so it's kind of a thing that you could be down with for a minute. You go and have a great experience, right? Even if you don't have to move, even if you don't move, Nicole, you could still You can still go every year. You know what I mean? You can still be down. You can still be down. We can find ways to collaborate. Maybe we might do a collaboration between Black Writers Read and Campfyah Collective. You never know. It's all about unity and creativity. So we don't have it all figured out. We have a strong foundation. We have a strong structure, but we have enough room there for the magic to happen. You have to do that when you get all these brilliant people in one space.
Absolutely. Customized experiences. Yes.
Exactly. You have to leave room. So we've created the container and we want folks to come in, and it'll be different every time based on who's there. But we're excited to see what's going to happen with this inaugural group and all the folks they're going to meet. We've got all these cameo appearances we're doing. We're going to have cooking demonstration. My homegirl, Deborah, who is like the cook of life, is going to cook Sunday lunch for us. So we're really just going to, as Chana said, have this multi-sensory experience that not only engages the senses, but also the intellect.
So I'd love to know why now.
Sure. You know, in our thought process, I mean, in broader media, right, there's an overwhelming, I think, amount of negativity among Black folks when we speak to each other, or that's seen when we speak to each other, women and men across regions, Caribbean to American to British to European, no matter where Black folks, you know, find each other, we can find some level of division and conflict snaking its way through the conversation. So we do speak to each other in love. I just don't think we do it enough. And we really wanted to create a space where we could talk about this tough stuff between us, often that's rooted in all this colonial, you know, BS, right? In the hopes to promote unity. And I think it's such a critical time right now. I think a lot of us are nervous about what's going to happen. I know in the US, but also all over the world, there's so much despair and so much, you know, trauma, and where we should be together as one, linked and supportive and understanding each other, there is some disconnect. And I think this is a great opportunity to just really understand each other, learn from each other, and be together. And we'll make the fight stronger for us as a collective. Lisa?
I've been calling it time to come back in the house. Right. So I find so many conversations about our struggles are outward facing, trying to convince people that our struggles are real, trying to convince people to take them seriously, trying to convince people to do right by us. We have all these conversations that are outward facing, the majority of them. And we do not have as many conversations as I would like to see that are inward facing. Right. So it's time to get off the porch and come in the house and sit down at the kitchen table and have the conversations amongst each other. And that's what this is. This is an internal conversation. This is a family conversation. And that's why it was important for us also to frame it in the notion of like love and softness as well, right? So it's not just about let's get together and knock heads, but like let's create that hearth, that warm, loving space. We don't want conversations that take place in boardrooms. We don't want conversations even to take place in classrooms. We want to get to the table, you know what I mean? Where there is the underlying text of love involved, so that we can talk about the rough stuff, you know, but understanding that nobody's going to go to bed angry is kind of what we really want to happen. And we feel like now is a time where we really need that as a people. Yeah. We need that within our regions. You know, I notice as Black Americans, you know, the way Black men and women are speaking to each other, the way we're speaking to each other within our genders, across gender, the way we speak to each other, like Chana said, across, you know, arguments between Caribbeans and Black Americans and people from the UK and who's Black enough and who's not Black enough and all these things. There's just, it's the division that I think has been our Achilles heel since the beginning of this whole colonial project. Absolutely. And so this is just our one little tiny way to just start a conversation that says maybe it's time for us to look inward with love and with gratitude and with compassion for each other to try to start untangling some of this stuff.
And then also too, if you want to offer a little bit about, because Barbados right now, especially the current leadership there, offers a very strong foundation to have this conversation.
I really feel like Barbados is a role model. And I think, it's been kind of a hidden gem, but not so much anymore with the role that it's taking on the international scene as far as what Mia Motley has been able to accomplish, with the United Nations. And, there are just so many different across time, even not just now, but across time, there's been like major leadership. I mean, did you know that the African liberation flag, the red, black, and green flag, was invented in Barbados?
Ooh.
Yeah.
Right. So Barbados has been the undercurrent of Black leadership for some time now. So I think that as a country that is predominantly Black, that has now taken on its own mantle, is now its own republic, has released its ties to Britain in that colonial way. I think that we have a lot to learn, particularly as Americans, who think that we do everything. I think we have a lot to learn, from a country that has been able to function in its independence in that way. And I was inspired when I was doing my research for my book, not only with the historical legacy around leadership. I mean, we could talk about, collective economics and politics and government and all those things, but also what moved me, and this is why I wanted to go out to the green or to the hills, is when you get out in the country, the notion of community is something that I imagine, at least as someone who grew up in the States, that we probably haven't seen like since slavery times. I mean, the idea that in Barbados it is common or has been common. I think they probably have their own challenges now as well with modernization, but it would be common to have a community where, you could leave your clothes out on the line and be going shopping, and then it start to rain and your neighbors would fold your clothes and take them inside your house because your door's not locked, obviously. So your clothes don't get wet. That you could be sitting in your house and be like, my mom made chicken and rice and I don't really want chicken and rice for dinner, but I can go down the street because Miss Hattie made goat.
Right.
And ground provision. And that's what I want to eat. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The fact that everyone cooks in a big pot because you assume that someone else is coming to eat. The way that people tend to each other, the way that people speak to each other, that you would not imagine walking, even on a very basic level, walking into an establishment, not saying good morning, good evening, good night, good afternoon. These notions about how we practice love amongst each other as a collective unit, I feel like Barbados is a really good role model for that, as well as the leadership government stuff. And so for once, we always kind of think as these first world countries that you're going somewhere and teaching somebody something. No, actually, it's time for us to like get off of that westernized pedestal and come to a place, a smaller, quieter place, and get smaller and quieter to possibly learn something.
Yeah, and also, Lisa, you shared with me when we were doing our excavation conversation about this, the fact that everyone there is so smart and so well read and can have these beautifully critical conversations opposing one another, and then they can still fellowship with one another afterwards. And that's a culture the US we need to learn from, especially now.
Yes.
I'm so glad you brought that up, particularly because everything we do always involves books, right? Because we're all bookish girls. So the literacy rate in Barbados is 99.7, right?
Wow.
Right.
The literacy rate in the United States is 79%, just to kind of let you calibrate, right? So Bajans are smart people, in my experience. No matter if I go to a rum shop and I'm there just drinking rum on ice out of a plastic cup, or if I'm in the among the top leadership of the country, I'm going to get good conversation, fantastic, critical conversation about our place in the world, about progress, about accountability, about compassion. And like you said, conversation where folks can be in heavy debate, but at the end of the day, that you're able to be able to come down, right, and still be able to be community. I've just been shocked, not because I don't expect that of a Caribbean country, but coming from the country that I come, the level of conversation that you can get anywhere is just like, you're like a kid in a candy store in Barbados. I feel like really everybody you talk to is smart. I don't care what kind of educational. I don't know why everybody's smart. That's all. That's all I've experienced. I haven't had a conversation with somebody yet. I might not agree with them, but people have critical thinking skills, and I think to be in a place where you're surrounded by a bunch of Black people are that way is like a really good environment to be in.
It is such a necessary environment.
And also say something too. I find too that often we feel that Black folks don't like grass and trees and the hills. Like, we don't like camping, and this is not camping. Obviously, this is a whole experience, but no, we do. We love nature. And I think it's just so great to be able to, that's why I love the fact that yes, we will have access to the beautiful beaches, but that we're actually going to be in the green. I think it's so important and special because we do love nature. We are connected. We are the trees, we are the earth. And most of us feel, I feel like a lot of us feel that way. So I think it's just all empower. It's just so powerful. I feel like it's our responsibility, quite frankly, to offer this retreat. I feel like it's Lisa's responsibility that she's embraced because she has all this knowledge of this beautiful space, this beautiful location. She has access to this amazing network of talent for her, and then for us as an extension of her to not share this and invite people to come, I feel like is irresponsible, would be irresponsible, right? Our job is to, help each other and expose each other. There's some people who don't even know about Barbados in this way. I mean, I learned a lot in the last, year just because of this, the planning of this. But anyway, I think we're just excited to be able to be a vessel of that knowledge and excited to share this fun experience and important experience.
So I'd love to know, who is your ideal participant for the Campfyah Collective?
Who's our ideal participant, Chana?
Yeah, sure. Okay, so our ideal participant is definitely we are inviting people to come to the grown folks table. Okay, so you must be 35 plus to ride this ride. We're looking for progressive minded artists, creative thinkers of all kinds. We're looking for, like Lisa said, change makers across sectors who are just interested in helping, to construct an evolved approach on how to lead across the diaspora. So as individuals or as collective, people who are single, we're looking at couples. I think anyone who is like-minded like us and are trying to just be empowered and to share their thoughts and their leadership within this very specific community of us, of those who are connected to the African diaspora. And I believe that there are a lot of great, beautiful, creative, vibrant leaders out there who are hungry for this experience, and we are just so ready to give it to them.
Yes. And then how do folks get involved?
Yeah, Lisa, or they have to, yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Okay. They just need to email us first if they're interested. Because
I gotta say something about that.
Okay, no, please, Lisa. Yeah.
Okay. Chana's gonna give you the email address. Chana's gonna give you the email information. But this is why you have to email us as opposed to us just making it easy for you and just dropping it.
Yes.
Well, we're not gonna make it easy for you because our model, our Maroon Village model, as we're calling it, is based on a structure that we're calling the Juke retreat, right? So we are running our retreat like a juke joint. Back in the day, when our folks used to want to let their hair down, decompress, listen to music, talk about issues of the day, and be in a safe space where they didn't have to worry about being persecuted, you had to go deep into the woods. And in order to get invited to that party, you had to know somebody who knew somebody, or you had to know somebody in order to get invited. You couldn't just roll up on the Juke, okay? The Juke was not broadcast on the radio, okay? The Juke was an invitation-only type situation, and we felt like that is how our ancestors created safe spaces,
Mhm.
I also love the idea that the term Juke originates from the South Carolina Gullah Geechee culture. A lot of people do not realize, again, as I said earlier, that South Carolina was basically created in Barbados. So when you enter South Carolina Gullah Geechee culture, often you will find folks that say, they sound like Bajans, right? Because half of their population literally is from Barbados. So we like the idea that we were creating a diasporic bridge by making this connection between Juke, which comes from South Carolina culture, and connecting it back to Barbados and using that as kind of our model. So yeah, this is what you're doing. This is the party out in the woods, right? So you got to get the information in order to get the information. So Chana is going to give you the email address, and then from when you email us and express your interest, then that's when we'll give you the keys to the kingdom, as it were.
So yeah, so please, you're just going to email us the name of our brand, Campfyah Collective. So that's CAMPFYAH.
That's right, Campfyah.
Campfyah. We don't talk like
in the Caribbean now. Fire, FYAH.
Exactly. So CAMPFYAH COLLECTIVE you send us an email, say, hey, let me know more about this amazing top tier retreat. And we will then contact you with more information, a lookbook, kind of more details of how you can confirm your participation, and all the details that I know, that you would need in order to make that happen. So we're super excited.
Yes.
Sign up, email us, and we are excited. And it's, first come, first serve. We are excited. This is an, intimate, yet, it's an intimate experience, yet it's going to feel massive because of all the love and the energy and all the activity and richness of it. So, definitely hit us up right now so you can lock in your spot.
That's right. It's going to be, we are creating a whole experience for
whole
sure.
Experience. Absolutely.
Yes. We're so excited to pamper.
We can't contain, and talk to us, and we'll tell you all whatever you need to know.
Yes. The email again is campfyahcollective@gmail.com.
And just so everyone knows, because I don't know if we announced this at the top, but we are hosting our inaugural retreat February 13th through the 18th in Barbados. So we figured, because we were talking about love and leadership, why not do it over Valentine's Day and President's Day weekend? We know sometimes people like to do a little remix on Valentine's Day. Not everyone's a fan, you know what I mean? Or maybe you want to do something different, or maybe you were trying to get your Galentine's on, or maybe you just want to approach love in a different kind of way. We're approaching Black love this Valentine's Day. Right.
Or maybe now that you've heard us talk about this amazing experience you want to participate in, you're not going to just do, take the days off on the holidays that you really weren't going to do much anyway. Why don't you save that time and do this amazing, unexpected experience, and save those hours, those vacation hours, and come join us.
It will be like nothing you have ever experienced.
Nothing you've experienced.
We can promise you that.
Definitely.
Thank you so much, Lisa and Chana, for coming back to the space, and also for inviting Black Writers Read to be the first place to announce this amazing program. The sun is all up in my face. So that's a good sign.
I want to say Bob Marley.
That's right. That's what that sun, that's that little bit of the Caribbean trying to reach out to you, girl.
Yeah. Calling you, Nicole. It's telling you, come on, girl.
It's calling you.
It's like, come home.
Yes, come home.
Thank you so much for listening to this amazing conversation. My dogs are in the background, so I'm going to make this really, really quick, as of course I'm recording from home. I hope you all have a chance to register for the camp, or at least inquire to participate in the very first inaugural Campfyah Collective retreats. With that said, have an amazing holiday and end of 2024.